evening, Bank TV viewers, and welcome to Bank TV for another night. You know, tonight I probably have one of the best gigs in town because I'm talking to the guys in our community. Well, they sort of make face hair a necessity and body hair glamorous. Of course, tonight we have the fabulous Vic Bears. So, without much further ado, I'll introduce who I have here with me tonight, and of course with you. Rob, President of Vic Bears, how are you this evening?
I'm great, Lindsay. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. Jack, how are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous, thank you very much. Thanks for asking.
Well, you're sort of the cute little bear, aren't you? Sort of hugging bear down the end there. Phil, now you're the longest, you've been with the Vic Bears the longest, I believe.
I'm one of the longest serving members. I was around at the very formation of the club, so I'm kind of like the elder statesman of the Bears, which is kind of surreal, really.
And it's sort of like a big old grizzly bear almost.
Well, I started out looking more like Jack. I sort of, worn my way out over the years as one does. But, I'm kind of like the collective memory of Vic Bears.
Fabulous. And on the end we have Kevin. How are you, Kevin? And you're sort of gay bear with purple hair.
I just like purple, something
It's
different.
like purple.
We're all gay bears.
You're all gay bears. Sorry to break that. I know, but I've never seen a bear with purple hair. Like, you've always been shaven and beardy and hairy.
Oh, you'd be surprised when we wear our decorations.
I don't need to know, because that'll get to below the waist stuff, I'm sure.
Is that coming up later?
That's coming up later. Well, we could have a few shots with, the bits blacked out, but the important bits of jewellery poking through or something. Now, Rob, with Vic Bears, we have to go back because I was when I was very young, and gay men were always very glamorous. They were in flares, dare I say, and no facial hair, no body hair. And then all of a sudden, it seemed to happen overnight that we had the Bears with their facial hair, their body hair, and not ashamed of their body shape. How did it all start?
Well, if you can sort of say that 20 years is overnight,
yeah.
Well, 20-year sensation, and I'll get Phil to help me out here because he was certainly very in touch with how it certainly came to be in Australia. But the bear culture really sprung up in the States, certainly in San Francisco in the sort of mid to late 80s, with guys that sort of didn't feel a bit misaligned with the normal image of the gay community and were a little bit older and didn't care so much about body beautiful or fashion or whatever, and just sort of started to get together and hang out, I think, at the Lone Star Saloon there on Folsom Street. And a sort of a new gathering or a culture and club was formed, and in chatting with those people online and the old chat channels then realised that there's those type of guys sort of globally, and we started to see, what was it, in the mid-90s, mid to late 90s, started in Brisbane, you were saying earlier, that we too had a similar feel that there was people in our community that may have felt or looked or behaved the same way, and the bear culture started to grow.
So is there a prerequisite for being a bear? Like, from my angle, you're all sort of burly, hairy guys, and then I see little skinny bears, on that, 1 or 2 days of the year when we're, women are allowed in the lair.
Right.
But you see sort of little, like you're a sort of skinny bear, in a
Right.
way.
I'm
not sort of...
I'm sucking it into that.
I think I've just dug a bit of a hole. You're sort of a chunkier bear. So when somebody wants to be a bear, do you say, no, you're a little bit too skinny and...
No, that's the wonderful thing about bear culture. It's all about celebrating masculinity in all its shapes and sizes. Whether or not you actually have facial or body hair, or whether those are just qualities that you admire in others. It's all about relaxing, being yourself, and being appreciative of who you are, regardless of fitting a stereotype. Which is why there is such an incredible range of people that identify with the bear community.
Absolutely, and one of the things is too, from being out and about, and you see, these bears and a twink, and it's like, oh my God, our community, if anything points to diversity of the gay male community, it is looking at a big burly bear and a twink. Kevin, how did you become a bear?
I got dragged along to the lead one night by a partner and kind of realised that, oh wow, there's this whole masculine subculture there that I'm really interested in, and most of the guys are incredibly hot.
We all do that.
Bang, I was hooked.
And it just was that one night out. But before you became a bear, would you have called yourself a twink or...
I was just a guy. I didn't realise there were subgroups.
Oh, okay. That's interesting because, again, as an observer, you see these different groups that form within gay male culture, and like bears, leather. Jack, your introduction to being a bear?
Well, actually, I would have been 16 at about the time when I would have been introduced to the whole concept of being a bear. A few of these guys can testify that they saw me on Carnival Day and about 2007 running around with a bear flag doing interviews for Joy 94.9. But I was too young to go to Laird Hotel or to participate in any of their events. So I waited until my 18th birthday and I knocked on the Laird Hotel door and I went, "Let me in!"
I'm ready.
And he's never looked back.
And I have never
He's made
looked
up for
back.
lost time.
Absolutely. So Jack, so you were a bear at the age of 16, basically. So you sort of came out as gay and a bear.
Well, it's certainly an awkward thing to sort of explain to your parents. That's certainly for sure. That one certainly came after the other. I had to get used to the gay part before the bear part.
Okay, so when you told your mum that, okay, you're gay, and you waited a wee while before you told her it's a bear, how did you actually explain beardom to her?
I think that in a lot of ways I just sort of explained it as in, oh, I'm going to a gay bar, oh, these are the sort of people that I'm with, oh, they just happen to be a little bit older than me, and oh, they just happen to be, well, a little bit larger than me, but I'm 6 foot, so usually in girth rather than height. But it was a slow thing, just photos of what I was doing, just and little artifacts sort of appearing around my space.
Yeah, okay. Because I remember a time 2 years ago, and you might remember this, that one way to identify a bear was the little bears in the back pocket with the lighting up eyes, the teddy bears,
Yes,
at dance clubs and things like that. You don't do that anymore.
Not so much, no. I haven't seen that
The
around
whole
as much.
flagging thing has kind of sort of fallen by the wayside somewhat.
Yeah.
But, you know, because bears are so diverse, bears are everywhere. And the amazing thing about bear culture is that everyone has those bear qualities in them, and it's just finding a club like Vic Bears and a venue that sort of supports that kind of subculture, that people sort of come out for the second time and discover what a wonderful, relaxing community that the bear community is.
I suppose why would you need to flag when you've got Grindr and you've Scruff and just all these different mobile networking platforms where you can locate a person just on the go? It takes all the guesswork out of it.
Absolutely. And I know, you know, like being around gay guys and you know, Grindr and what else there is out there.
Scruff.
Scruff, that's it.
Which are more tailored to our market.
Yeah,
right,
Scruff,
right.
that's right. We're going to a very short break, but we'll be back to talk more about what it's like to be a bear, how do you become a bear, and whether at the end of the show I'll be a bear. So stay tuned, we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, everybody. Tonight I am just in absolute bliss and glee over being surrounded by such gorgeous, big, chunky, hairy men. Tonight we're talking to Vic Bears about all things bear and about the wonderful work too that the Vic Bears do in our community. Now, Rob, you have an agenda or a directive in Vic Bears. What is it?
Well, I suppose it's sort of a goal that we came up with ourselves in the current committee, and since the club started 96, 97, it's always had a mission to go out and do good for others and raise funds for the community. So all the events we do, particularly our key event in June every year, Southern Hibernation, is a fundraising event. And throughout the years there's been tens of thousands of dollars raised for local and state charities that usually don't get other grants or money from other sources and can really benefit from that sort of partnering. So, pardon me. So we've this year we decided to ramp it up a bit and really become more inclusive throughout the community and put the fund back into fundraising and raise a level. And we have a target of $20,000 this year, and we're well on our way of achieving that. And certainly with Hibernation coming up in June, that will certainly help get us over the line. But it really drives us, I think, for what we do in all the events. So it's good to know that we can have a good time and go to these, put our dance parties on and dance around our underwear, or have a drink at the Laird and sell raffle tickets. But it's all going to people that really do need it, who, you know, certainly in greater need of ourselves.
Absolutely. And was it the Vic Bears that were instrumental with the Laird auction? Was it you guys that were involved in that?
We weren't. We were part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
I don't think they made. We were certainly, you know, partnering up with the Laird, and we do a lot with the Laird, being our den hotel where we meet every month. But Hibernation is really our sort of gathering, which we work so hard towards, and bring hundreds of bears from all over the country and Asia and New Zealand and so forth.
Wow.
To really ramp up that fundraising.
So tell us a little bit about Southern Hibernation, because we all see it advertised, but it's like, well, what are these guys really up to?
Right. Well, most bears would know a lot about it.
Yeah.
As it's been rolling out.
Because there's no women allowed.
No, at some of the events sometimes, but certainly because most of our events are at the Laird, which is the male-only venue, that's sort of become the norm. But since we've been running Hibernation, which started around just the Mr. Melbourne Bear and Cub contest, I think it was in 97 or 97, so about 15 years or so now, it's grown into this sort of 8 days, 13 events. Across the board, we sell passes and individual tickets and team up with other venues and non-profits who want to get involved and obviously have an interest in supporting the bears and the charities that we work with.
Excellent.
So we've got a big one planned that's coming up in June, starting on the 10th, and it's all for the Anti-Violence Project this year. So we've teamed up with them, and they're great causes. So hoping to raise some big bucks for them in the
Absolutely,
coming months.
because the Anti-Violence Project does, it's a group that's out there, which is really just a handful of people, really, that are doing amazing work liaising with police, etc. Tell me, how important is it for you guys with being a bear? Is it being a bear first? Is it your sense of community? Is it your sense of that you like the unity that you have with being a bear? What's sort of the driving force?
For me, it's more like a sense of family. When I came to Melbourne in '97 as Vic Bears was forming, it was a very tight group of small group of people. The club is very small, and people like Roy Burns, the club's founder, were the small group of people who got together, and it really was that sense of brotherhood and family that we found. That's kind of expanded from there, and it's always been like that way for me. It's my second home, and it's one of the reasons that I can go to now go to a bear hotel anywhere in the world, and it feels like home. Because there is that sense of brotherhood and fraternity and family.
And it is one of those things that still, no matter what, and I think no matter where our community ends up, I think it's going to be one of those issues that is very important for us, that we can go into a bar anywhere in the world or anywhere locally, wherever, and actually feel that, these are sort of our people, if you will. Yeah. Kevin, for you, are you still like a new bear, or...?
I've been in the community for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
At the same time as I joined, I got put on the Vic Bears committee, or I joined the Vic Bears committee, and it's just been a ride of non-stop fun. The number of events that we do, I had no idea when I started, and now there's such a community spirit in there, and they really do care about each and every one of the people that are in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say myself, like, I've been to the Laird on the days when women are allowed in, and I have to admit that these guys just run around and look after you. It's like, it's sort of, I don't know what it is, but honestly, I had drinks in my hand constantly and really looked after her as a woman, and sort of, I felt quite protected and safe, which is a little bit different sometimes than going out to like the Twinkie bars where it's you dark and, sort of cop a bit of abuse. It's sort of like, in some ways you guys sort of feel like yoldy worldy sort of gay guys that have got together and, on Sundays there'd be nothing for you to cook scones almost.
But that's the great thing about the bear community. We're very laid back. We're very friendly, and that's one of the hallmarks of bear communities globally. Is that we're very relaxed and accept everyone for who they are, no matter whether you're gay, straight, male, female, dyke, puff, whatever you call yourself. There is a place for you in the bear community.
Yeah. I mean, the overriding philosophy is that we can all be worthy of both dignity and respect. That we all can be a sex object in our own way, and it feels good.
Like,
it feels good to be appreciated.
I'd actually like to feel like that one day, but
That's true.
Bear love.
And I think that's a good point too for a lot of older guys, particularly when the bear culture started, that guys that were hitting their 40s and 50s and they felt not in shape and overweight and hairy and not the clean-shaven images that the media kept putting up that we should be, found that family, found a place where not only were they welcome, but they too were becoming sex objects, because there's bear daddies, and I personally like the older guys, or and certainly the bigger ones. So those that may not be the sort of slim height weight proportion actually have strong appeal and usually find a lot of fun in our culture, and very inclusive.
Because that's what it's about too. Like, no matter what your community, you know, you need to have fun. It's all about, you know, having as much fun with the people who you equate with more than anything. And again, you know, like the Laird, I think, has just been a godsend because it's a place where you guys, first and foremost, feel safe. I've heard all sorts of stories about what goes on in the basement that I won't mention on air, and I really shouldn't be told thanks very much because I'm a woman. But
We'll talk to you during the break.
okay. But keep the cameras rolling. But yeah, it's one of those wonderful feelings that you get around you guys, and I think that's what this segment's sort of been about is the community work. Is that, you know, there's no attitude. You're just out there being yourselves and doing what you do.
It's sort of more like we do give a damn, but it's more this sort of, as Phil said earlier, it's not like, it's that sort of more casual, laid-back attitude. We don't get hung up so much about things and like to welcome others into, you know, our activities and our fundraising activities and events, and that's why we try and be more inclusive. So what originally started as a sort of a very misaligned sort of separate group has now sort of become a bit more mainstream in a way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll be back to talk more about all things bear after this very short break from our sponsors, so please stay tuned and stay hairy. Welcome back, everybody, to Bank TV. And if you've just tuned in, or if you've been watching, of course, you know exactly who we have on air tonight. But if you've just tuned in, I'm sitting amongst the most fabulous guys in our community, the Vic Bears. And we've been talking about bears basically in general, the work that you do, what it means to be a bear, but you're also encroaching on something that's a little bit different than what the bears have done before. Kevin, I'll hand that over to you because I believe it's to do with forums and health issues.
It was. One of the biggest problems we have in the gay community is that we are one of the highest risks for suicides. And as a community, we felt that, or as a committee, we felt that we weren't doing enough. And this year we decided to change that. And what we've introduced is this concept of an open forum. So
it's not a new idea.
Well, for us it is.
As a club, yeah.
As a club, it's the first time we've ever done anything like this. And essentially what it is we'll pick several topics that we know are incredibly important to our community and invite key speakers to come in and actually have a discussion with the community, as well as putting them in touch with resources that they can use to help them with their issues. Like one of the big ones that we've done so far was kind of in conjunction with the Are You OK Day project, and it was all about mental health. And we got some really good key speakers in to have a chat with us. And I think there were about 65 people that ended up coming.
Wow.
It was quite a turnout,
Yeah.
and it wasn't only limited to the bear community. It was actually open to anyone that had these issues or wanted to come along.
Absolutely, and I think the thing is, like, coming back to that gay image thing that we're all very, very conscious of. You know, there would be kids out there that are a little bit overweight or are a little bit hirsute, can we say, more than what their age should be. But it's that sort of realism where, and you know, I'm not knocking you guys because we've talked about image and things before, but you do present as a little bit more, shall we say, real or down to earth perhaps, and somebody sort of, Kylie. That's sort of, hello.
Mention Kylie at every game match.
Yeah, I know. And Barbara Streisand. But, you know, Kevin, that would be an important factor of this as well, like, I guess, your accessibility visually.
Well, the thing is we're completely accepting. No one will walk into a bear bar and say that, you know, you're an otter, you're a cub, you're a whatever. Yeah. They just accept you for who you are and allow you to be who you are and give you that space.
Brilliant. And when's this coming up? We might not be...
The next one, I believe, is in April.
Okay.
And it will be in conjunction with the AVP again and dealing with violence.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, we might actually be on air after that. Sorry, folks, but I guess if we send out in the ether waves right now, they might actually get it, Rob?
Yeah, I think we're aiming for another one in July too. I think we're looking for a third one as well.
July.
So, yeah, we'll have that on our website and details of that when we pull that together.
Beautiful. Now, Southern Hibernation's coming up, which is a... I listen to that.
We're a little bit excited when we talk about
Don't you know
hibernation.
sort of woof woof or something when...
We do.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the...
It's kind of like the catchword of bear culture. Is one of the things that you find is coming out as a bear. This whole new lexicon of words that you learn, and one of the first things you learn is instead of saying "Hi, how are you? I think you're hot," it all comes down to a single word: woof.
Woof. Oh, okay.
So if someone woofs at you, it's kind of like, "Hi, I'd like to get to know you," but I don't really want to spend all those words saying "Hi, I want to get to know you." It's woof, which sounds so much better.
It does actually. But just very, very briefly, before we talk about Southern Hibernation, because there is this sort of crossover between well, what we see is like leather and bears. Do you have to be into leather to be a bear? Like, can you be a vanilla bear?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
There are the wonderful
Vanilla bear. Sorry, I thought that was funny.
But just because people identify with the bear community doesn't mean that they don't have other interests and fetishes. There's always been a close association between bears and leather. There's always been a part of the bear scene that's been interested in the leather scene. And most bears will probably sort of admit to having one or two items of leather in their closet. But some people it's part of the lifestyle, and some people it's they just bring it up for special occasions. So just because you happen to be a bear, it doesn't mean that that's all you are. So it's anything that you're into, there's probably some part of the bear community that's also into that.
Yeah, because it's so funny because like the lead, and here we have Jack and his what is braces? I was going to say stirrups, but that's something else, isn't it? Now, sudden hibernation, we need to talk about that. It's coming up in June.
Yes.
We've talked a little bit about the history of sudden hibernation. Let us know just some of the events that you have coming up for this year's event.
It's kicking off on the Queen's birthday weekend, as it does, so the 10th of June, and we've got the perennial favourites. And once again, it's a big fundraising event, so we want to make sure it's popular and people have a great time, but at the same time dig deep into, we have fundraising and we have great raffles and so forth, and we have some great sponsors that help support that financially as well. But certainly some of the great events that we love and we look forward to. The big anchor is the Mr. Australasia Bear Contest.
Oh, yes.
So
my friend won that once.
Yes.
Joe Rocker,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was a while ago.
That's going back. Well, it's been running, for a good few years, the contest.
Yeah, since 1997.
Yes. So that's on the Saturday night at the Laird. And we get bears that have been anointed in other clubs around the country and just recently New Zealand who send their representatives over. Yep. So it's not just a bear beauty contest, it's all about their worth and work in the community and a bit of fun. We really it's a real fun, enjoyable night of having a bit of fun with ourselves, but also raising the profile of what we do out there. So that's a big one.
There's a dance party as well that happens.
Yes, we have two actually.
Yeah.
Well, there's three really, I think, this year. We've got the fur dance party, which kicks off on the Sunday night, which Papa Tom and Nurse Betty organise at the Laird. Then we have our Underbear dance party, so we all dance around in our underwear and jocks and boxes and whatever you're comfortable in, right?
Yeah. Then you can all hang out, so to speak.
Exactly,
Don't invite me to that one.
Refuse And then we wrap up the whole week with our roundup, which is our final dance party, which is on the Sunday. And we're going to a new venue this year, so we watch out. Yeah, watch out for that one. But a few new extra events that we haven't had before. Many years ago, Kay Sarah's coming back to do. She's doing the Melbourne Zoo tour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Which is a hoot. So we're going to do that on the Saturday morning.
Fabulous. Now, if anybody out there is interested in bear culture, where can they go? How can they contact?
They should start with our website, Vic Bears, vicbears.org.au, our Facebook page as well, so Vic Bears Inc., and southernhibernation.com is specifically around the Southern Hibernation events. So that's all up now and running. You can buy your passes, your tickets, and check it all out. And find out more about these great events coming up in June.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for coming along this evening. Kevin, Phil, Jack and Rob, the President. We hope that we've demystified beardom for you. Get out there. And if you don't have any body hair and you want to be a bear, just, I don't know, just cut it off and stick it back on again. You've been watching BTV with the Vic Bears. We'll see you all next week.